The information a player gathers when they look over the shoulder can be broken down into cues, triggers, and pattern recognition. Cues. Cues are single pieces of information you observe, helping you read and understand the current situation on the pitch. They can be specific actions or movements that provide valuable information. For example, one cue would be observing the position of an opponent. His weight going here. This is a cue, an indication that they intend to block this pass off. Another cue could be checking your shoulder and seeing your marker sprinting to close you down. This cue, specifically seeing him close you down at speed, is important information for how long you have on the ball. And these cues are all one piece of information you can use to your advantage to make a more informed decision on the ball. A cue can also be communication from your teammates, an auditory cue. You hear your fullback saying he's open on the overlap. And a visual cue, teammate pointing where they want the ball. If you often find yourself being unconfident, rushed, or panicked on the ball, one big reason for this is because you don't understand what relevant information to look for in each scenario and what isn't, leading to you checking your shoulder, gathering tons of cues, causing you to have an information overload and freezing on the ball. The antidote to this is learning how to filter the relevant information from the irrelevant information. And this is something we will cover later, but it's good to keep in mind for now. Triggers. A trigger is a mental response to a cue, recognizing a potential outcome due to a combination of cues. Here's an example. When the striker comes deep, this being one cue, and the centre-back following, this being another cue. The trigger here is recognizing the space being left by the centre-back, meaning a potential option is now a through ball to a teammate who recognizes this too. Now, this trigger will help you gather the relevant information. In this case, looking to see if any teammates are making this run. Another example to understand the difference between cues and triggers. Here, the centre defensive midfielder applies pressure. When the attacker observes this is a cue. Now, the trigger is realizing what this cue means. Big space left in front of the defense, leaving them exposed. The man on the ball does this incredible piece of skill, now freely running directly at the back four. And because he has no pressure from the centre defensive midfielder, he has time to get his head up and play this through ball to the striker. And what a finish. Cues and triggers are not only picked up by the player on the ball. Your goal is to always be scanning the play to see what is happening around it, whether you have the ball or not. Here, for example, top midfielders will notice cues before they receive the ball. As we can see, he's identified the cue of the centre defensive midfielder coming out of his slot, and just as a potential pass could be coming to him, the trigger is now to look to see if any of his teammates are exploiting that space for a quick pass. Patterns. When a player identifies that the same combination of cues lead to certain possibilities and outcomes, also known as pattern recognition, and this is calculated subconsciously. The brain will see the cues and automatically calculate the potential pattern. It's like a formula. These specific cues in this specific scenario equal this trigger, which equals these outcomes. This is where the top players operate, but why is it so powerful? Going back to this scenario, the striker comes to receive the ball to feet and the centre-back follows, and the trigger being the mental response, realising there is a gap now in the defence, causing the attacker to search for teammates making this run. These two cues combined in this scenario will always result in this pass in behind always being a possibility. So the top players, at a glance, the subconscious brain will pick up on these cues, seeing the striker come to feet, and as soon as they see any momentum from the defender coming short too, the pattern recognition system is live. Automatically, they will scan for teammates making a run into this space. And this is how top pros have such fast decision making. Due to plenty of game time and experience, they've come across the same combination of cues over and over again. The brain has now stored these as patterns. When a combination of cues begin to unfold, they automatically know potential outcomes available. When you see a piece of genius play that looked impossible to calculate so quickly, it's because their subconscious mind made a pattern recognition, within a split second. They recognized all of the relevant cues and they automatically responded. To conclude, football IQ is your ability to identify information unfolding around you. Your decision making is what you choose to do with this information. The information can be broken down into 3 categories: cues, triggers, and patterns. Cues: single pieces of information you observe, helping you read and understand the current situation on the pitch. Triggers: is a mental response to a cue, recognizing a potential outcome due to a combination of cues. Pattern recognition: when a player identifies that the same combination of cues lead to certain possibilities and outcomes subconsciously.